In this video I'll explain how to estimate a linear regression model with fixed intercept using the R programming language. So without too much talk, let's dive into the R code. In this video I will show you several examples, and all of these examples are based on the example data that we can create with lines 2 to 4 of the code. So if you run these lines of code, you can see at the top right of RStudio that two new vector objects are appearing, which are called x and y. And both of these vector objects contain 1000 random numeric values. Now let's assume that we want to estimate a regression model based on these two variables. Then we can apply the LM function, as you can see in line 6. And within the LM function, we need to specify that the variable y is our target variable and the variable x is our predictor for this variable. So if you run line 6 of the code, you can see that a new model object is appearing at the top right of RStudio, which is called mod default. And we can print the summary statistics for this model by running line 7 of the code. And then you can see at the bottom in the RStudio console that we have created an output which is showing our intercept estimate and the regression coefficient for the variable x on the target variable y. Now let's assume that we want to estimate this model with a fixed intercept. Then we first need to specify the fixed intercept that we want to use. So in this case, I want to use the fixed intercept 3. So for that reason, I'm creating a new data object which is called intercept, and I'm assigning the value 3 to this data object. So if you run line 9 of the code, you can see at the top right of RStudio that a new data object called intercept is appearing. And in the next step in line 11 of the code, we can use this data object to estimate our linear regression model once again. However, this time we are specifying that we want to use a fixed intercept in this model, and we do that by using this 0 plus in front of the x, and we are subtracting the intercept value from our target variable y. And then we are storing the output of this linear regression model in a new model object which we call mod intercept 1. So if you run line 11 of the code, you can see at the top right of RStudio that another model object called mod intercept 1 is appearing, and we can have a look at the summary statistics of this model by applying the summary function to this model, as you can see in line 12. So after running this line of code, another linear regression model output is appearing at the bottom in the RStudio console. And this time you can see that only the regression coefficient for the variable x is appearing and no intercept anymore, because we have specified a fixed intercept. And you can also see that the regression coefficient has changed in comparison to the previous model. We can also visualize this change in a plot, as you can see in lines 14 to 20 of the code. So in these lines of code, I'm first drawing a plot of our data. So if you run line 14 of the code, you can see at the bottom right of RStudio that a new scatter plot is appearing, which is showing our data points in the variables x and y. And then in the next step in lines 15 to 17, we are drawing the regression line corresponding to our default model without a fixed intercept. So if you run these lines of code, you can see that a green line is added to our plot, and this green line is showing our default model without fixed intercept. And then in the next step in lines 18 to 20, we are drawing another AB line to our plot, which is representing the regression slope of our model with fixed intercept. So if you run these lines of code, you can see that another red line is drawn to our plot. And as you can see at the point 0 on the x-axis, this line is exactly at the y-axis position 3, because we have specified this as a fixed intercept. So as you have seen in this example, we can use the code that you can see in line 11 to estimate a model with fixed intercept. However, I want to show you a second example which provides an alternative to this, and this is what I'm showing in lines 22 to 24. So in these lines of code, I'm using the offset function, the rep function, and the lm function, as I did in the previous examples, and I'm also specifying this 0 to create a fixed intercept. So if you run lines 22 to 23 of the code, another model output is appearing at the top right, which is called mod intercept 2. And we can print the summary statistics of this model using the summary function, as you can see in line 24. And then you can see that we have created another output. And as you can see, this output shows exactly the same regression coefficient for the x variable as in the previous output. And you can also see that no intercept is shown as in the previous output. So this second example creates exactly the same result as the previous example. However, this time we have used the offset and the rep functions. That's all I wanted to explain in this video. In case you want to learn more on this topic, you may check out my homepage, statisticsglobe.com, because on my homepage I have recently published a tutorial in which I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to this tutorial into the description of the video, so you can find it there. If you have liked this video or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'll try to respond to all comments as soon as I can. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified about future video releases. I have already published about 500 videos on this channel, and I'm releasing new videos on a daily basis. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.